Alright, we're going to go over the install guide for the SD mount kit for the Model 1 Sega Saturn that uses the thin, flimsy metal shielding. So this style had the posts installed a little differently. You actually had to screw the posts or unscrew the post from the actual plastic frame instead of metal bracket like on all newer versions of the Sega Saturn. So like, if you were to open up your console and look in it from the back before even taking the console apart, you'll be able to tell that it's this style because you can press this piece of metal housing here and it's easy to bend. All the newer ones have a very thick metal housing, so it's not as easy to bend. So that does add an extra step and an extra part. That's these little feet here that have to be secured to the mounting bracket and mounting brace. So if you look at your console when you go to do this, you'll see that the mounting bracket needs to sit in like this. So 1 foot needs to be this direction, 2 feet down this way, and the 3rd foot has to be at like a 45-degree angle, or the 4th foot, I mean, at a 45-degree angle like that. So we'll do that real quick. And that's what these little black screws are for. So there might be a little bit of plastic gunk or something inside of these just because of how quickly we have to print them. There we go. But everything will sit flush for you once it's kind of in place. As with all 3D printed parts, don't tighten super snugly. You'll run the risk of damaging the print and not having everything kind of working for you. So just go through, throw these screws in real quick. There we go. And one last screw to throw in. Just like so. Alright. So we'll set that aside. So now we're going to assemble the top. This is the part that is going to be the most difficult for most people, and mostly because of this light pipe. You can choose to omit it and not put it in. You're just going to have a little hole that does nothing there, which, I mean, it's not like it detracts or anything, so I don't know that it's a huge deal for most people. So we're going to start by assembling the extension hood, and that just takes this extension ribbon. You can opt to have us assemble the top portion for you. So that's the option for assembly. And we do enough of them, we can easily get these put together. So just wanted to give an option for people to save a little bit of money by not having us do as much work on the product. So after you get the extension placed in there, you push the hood into the top piece, and then there is a clamp that goes over the hood and the extension, keeping it in place so it can't get pushed down. And then you take 4 of these silver screws, the littler silver screws, and you just run those into the 4 corresponding holes on the mount, just like so. last one after this, I guess. Once that's in place, we move on to preparing and installing the light pipe. So we're adding an extra step to our part. We're just going to run through a drill bit that is the exact same size as the filament. And that just gives it so it's not as much work to push these in. If you watched the last video, you saw that that was a huge pain. This does make it a little bit easier to lose the light pipe, but I don't think it's going to detract enough to be an issue, especially because the light pipe's under tension when it's installed. So the light pipe when you do the install, you're given the option to pick one of the 3 LEDs that corresponds. So if you were to set it on, you'd see that this little block here, it's got 3 little slots in it, lines up with all 3 of these LEDs, so you can pick which one that you want to have on. Like the one all the way to the back of this is for a hard drive, which is how we're going to ship all the ones that are assembled. The next one down is power. It's just always on LED. And then the next one is access, which I believe is for the SD card. It seems to do stuff when the SD card is on. So it's really up to your preference. So once you've got the decision on which one you're going to go with, just slide into that corresponding slot. And then I start by attaching this furthest mounting hole. And for the Saturn and these 2 back ones, this mounting bracket is the same for both the Saturn and the Dreamcast. So there's extra holes that you won't use. But there's these 2 holes that are parallel to one another. Those are for the Saturn. So you can slide that in, get it mostly tight, don't snug it up. You want to be able to kind of twist the entire mount, because we need to put the tension on this light pipe to get the correct angle on it. And really it's just moving the light pipe in and out until you get everything to just kind of slide over to where it should be, which will line up the screw hole here at the front, and just run your screw into that spot. My screwdriver's magnetism isn't very great. And all the screws in this kit will use a number 1 screwdriver. So you should be able to just kind of pick up a number 1 screwdriver and do the entire kit. I have a electric screwdriver for the next part, just because it makes my life easier. These things are super cheap. I get them all. I got 2 of them from Amazon for I think like $20 a piece, and they are strong. They were charged with a micro USB cable, so you don't have to have like a special charger or anything around, as long as you've got a micro USB. Anyway, so flush cutters. You got to flush cut the light pipe to the print on both sides, just like so. Now it's a continuous light pipe, and as that LED lights up, the light will travel through the pipe and display your LED status on that little spot there. Super simple. So next step is to install your base into the body of the kit, or body of the Saturn. So obviously you gotta kind of line these feet up. I think it's easier to get that far foot kind of installed and into place. Then you're going to use the screws that you pulled out of the original posts. Hopefully you still have them. I don't have that size screw in stock here, otherwise I would probably offer an option for it, but I haven't even taken a look to see what size it is. So after you've got the base installed, your next step is to install the mode board. So there is one post that's got a rise to it that actually sits into one of the screw posts on the mode board. Once you have that installed, this back corner one here can be installed to just kind of keep everything in place so it doesn't move around on you too much. Just like that. Just something to make sure you don't, lose everything while you're working on it. Take your, in this case, 20-pin cable, plug it into the 20-pin port on the mode. Take your power cable, plug it into the power cable slot on the mode, unless you're using like the external power from the power supply or something along those lines. Super quick and easy. So now you're going to take your ribbon cable and you're going to push it right into the SD card slot on the mode. It's got to bend over, and then we have to put a crease in it. It doesn't have to be a super tight crease or anything, but I do kind of like a little rollover crease like this at an angle. Once that's in place, we set the mount right over there. There's 4 of these longer black screws, and they go into each one of these locations. Screw them all the way in. So show that back a little further so everybody can see what's going on. So once all 4 black screws are in place, all you got left is the one white screw, which is a little bit shorter. That goes in this front post. Like I said, this mount, or middle mount, is made for both Saturn and Dreamcast. So this post is lower like this to clear the Dreamcast lid latch. So once that's in place, you can reassemble your Sega Saturn. Like I said, this isn't a video guide on how to do anything with the Saturn. This is my only Model 1 Saturn, and it's definitely not in the best of shape. Somebody spray painted it or something. I honestly don't know. Yeah. So once it's in place, you have a usable Saturn. Buttons both work. That light will light up whenever the hard drive is activated, because that's the spot that I slid it into. Like I said, this Saturn is beat to heck, but still works, especially with the mode. But yeah, thanks for taking part in the video. Hopefully this helps you get this installed. It is definitely the most complex install guide that I've had to put together, most complex design I've had to do for an ODE, just because of the limited space and the large size of the board that Terra Onion released. But it's a great product, and I mean, can't beat the menus and whatnot that are on it. Thank you.